Good morning, nuts and bolts listeners. Here we are again, yet on another Friday morning, listening in and tuning in to a new topic. And today we're going to talk about how to set goals the right way. Just as a reminder, you can always re-listen to the recording on YouTube, LinkedIn, or Facebook. You can like it, you can share it, or give us a comment. Sorry, my microphone is driving me bonky. So we last time spoke about goal setting, and we have for the last week and a half, but today we really want to talk about how to set the right goals. We are in number 40 from the turn of January, and here we are, and this is the time where most people really start setting their goals. Like I said, in January, people just take time to settle in. They need to bed everything down, be it settling children into school. Maybe it's a new job that they've gone to. There's maybe new requirements, but just generally January is not the goal month, and why I really don't know, but it just is like that, and statistics have shown that in various forms through gym memberships and all of that. And yes, greetings, Jade, nice to see you. And so February is really the ideal time to set goals. However, we very often set wrong goals, and saying it about setting right goals and wrong goals is a bit of a paradox, because it makes it sound like the one is better or less better than the other, and that's not how it's meant to be. It's just actually meant to say to set the correct goals for you that actually are motivational and inspirational. So there is a key component to it, that they need to be authentic towards you. What works for the one person does not necessarily work for the other person. But today I really want to go through a step-by-step process on how to set goals that are right for you. And it does take work. If you want the success in achieving goals, there's quite a bit of reflection, introspection required, and that's half of the battle won, if you could say so, or the success in goal attainment. The first question is always, are you mentally, physically, and emotionally ready to set this goal and focus on the goal? And we don't often take that into consideration. We just want to set a goal, go for it. It's always been on our bucket list. It's something we want to either improve or stop doing, a habit that we wanted to kick for so long, or something we've dreamt about doing. So now you've decided this is the year and this is when you're going to do it. But you don't always check if I am literally in that right space, mentally, emotionally, physically, to engage with this goal. And if you are not, the chances of success are a lot less. You'll lose momentum, commitment, accountability, all these things very quickly. So the soil has to be fertile for the goal to actually start being seeded and growing, and then eventually becoming just this beautiful flower. But if the soil isn't right, you can plant anything in there and nothing will happen. So it has to just be that as a starting point. Then as you reflect on setting a goal, it is always a good idea to go back and look at your past goals, both the ones that you've achieved and both or the ones that you haven't achieved, because there are nuggets in the information of the goals that you have achieved and the ones that you haven't achieved. So it's asking yourself perhaps 3 questions. What have been my greatest achievements in the last year? What made me achieve them? And whose support did I have by achieving them? And just alone the first question, a lot of people struggle with, to actually say, what were my biggest 3 achievements? doesn't have to be something big. Sometimes it is really just a very personal item that you have managed to change a behavior that you've done, that you've managed to be more positive, that you've managed to be more resilient, that you've managed to just have a different time management system. So it doesn't necessarily always have to be like these wow big achievements, but it's something personal to you that you say that's something I actually achieved and I'm proud of. So go back and look at the year past, and then equally look at the year that passed, which would be 2022, and say, what were 3 goals I was aiming to achieve and I didn't? That's sometimes quite sore. Ouch, it's enough, because you go, yeah, let's be realistic. I didn't achieve them. And then be fair to yourself and just say, what got in the way? Try and stay out of storytelling, blaming, excuses, but really just go, so what did get in the way? Maybe you didn't value the goal anymore. Maybe it didn't inspire you that much anymore. Maybe you didn't see the need for it. But really just think about, why did you not do the goal? Maybe you've outgrown it. Maybe somebody else asked for you to do it and it doesn't add value to you. So really just think about why that goal was not met. And remember, you write this down on your own, in your own journal or something. So it's for you, your eyes and your heart to actually only know about. It's not for anybody else to see. So this is your moment of honest truth. And then also write down what support you didn't have. And if you had it, would it have changed? Like, what were the resources that were missing? So maybe it was a lack of time or support or a cheerleader or not having it mapped out clearly or anything like that. So go and use your past year. And if you want to go further than the year and look at the last 2 or 3 years, then by all means do that. But really use the past as a preamble to the future, because you'll get a lot of information in there to say, these are the goals that I have achieved, and this is how I achieved them, and this is the support I needed, and these are the resources that I needed, and these are the ones I didn't. And if you build the new goals, the question is, do any of these goals fit into the category of I didn't achieve them or I did achieve them, so that you can prepare for them differently. If it's a goal that you've attempted before, didn't achieve it for whatever reason, however, it's still a goal that you want to achieve, you'll address it this time differently, because you will look at the knowledge that you have gained of, this didn't work for me like that last time. How will it work for me in future? So you get a lot of data out of that. And the data is very personal and will be different for everybody. Of course, you can always ask people around you, how did it work for them? What did they try to get inspiration? But at the end of the day, goal setting is a very personal process, because you need to hold yourself accountable. You need to be your biggest sponsor and cheerleader. It's so hence the challenge. Okay, let's start looking at setting future goals. Now, I don't know about you, but I always have a bucket list of future goals. But somehow we need to really be very clear of the goals we want to set, because just taking our normal life, we all have very rich and abundant lives, and we have goals in all of these areas. So if you look at our standard lives, it's really perhaps putting them down in categories and saying, these are my goals. So giving them headings as a starting point. So on a piece of paper, you would create around about 8 headings. And normally they would be work, family, friends, or you could put them together in relationships, Then it's hobbies or extramurals, then, or passion projects as people call them. Then you would have finances, so that would be income generating, and then it would be financial growth. So there's two components. The one is more on a day-to-day earning a living, and the other one has more a focus on savings and growth towards certain projects that you want to do, be it a travel, buy a car, buy a house, retirement. So there's a different component around that. Then there is sports activities or physical activities. So that's already number 7. And then the 8th one would be, you can call it self-care, mental health, whatever you want to call it, but really how are you going to honor that? So those are normally around about the 8 areas. You can add as many as you want to. You can remove areas, but really think about your life and all the areas that are important to you. So that's key. You write down these areas and then really sit down and think about what are 3 goals that I would really love to achieve in this area. So if it's in your business, what is it that you are yearning just to achieve? Just put it on there. And it might be that you want to double your income, that you want to perhaps work less, bring more work-life balance into your life. Maybe you want to expand your team. Maybe you want to get a bigger client on board. Maybe you want to make your business ready for an acquisition, or you want to buy a company. It doesn't matter what yours is, but really write down 3 areas. Then move on to the next one and go, so if I look at my relationships with the people that I have around me, what is it that I have a goal with? So maybe you want to connect with somebody in your family once a week or more often. Maybe you want to spend time with somebody more. Maybe you want more quality time with somebody. It doesn't matter. Again, just write it down. And this whole process does take, I would say, roughly about 20 minutes for you to take all these categories and then write down your goals. And if you have more than 3 in one category, that's okay. If you have 4 or 5, that's okay. But you will notice as you write it that you've got quite a bit of a page with all these categories and all these goals. The challenge is there's too many. You won't be able to. So just imagine you've got 8 categories, 3 goals. That's 8, 16, 24 goals to achieve in 1 year. Everybody will go, that's rather impossible. You'll feel overwhelmed. You'll most probably set yourself up for failure. So the question is how to set the right goal. You've put them all down on paper. That's great. Now it's time to start narrowing them down and really being clear. So the next step is on setting the right goal is to draw a line next to the A4 where you've written down the goals, and on the top right, what would this goal do for me? So what would I gain from this? And really being clear what the benefit for you is. And sometimes it is something like, I will feel more confident if I have achieved this. I will feel calmer. I will feel more appreciated. I will feel more in control. So it's not necessarily a tangible measurement, but it's for you to understand what is the gain for me if I achieve this, because that is going to be your key motivator of why you are pursuing this goal and why it matters to you. So the benefit speaks very much to your needs, the values, and your motivation and your commitment. So don't skip that part of the exercise. However, you still have 24 goals that you want to achieve, and we only have 11 months left in the year. So it's now getting a little bit, we have to do something. It's getting a bit hectic here. So my personal way of doing it, but I'm not saying it all, it's the way you need to do it, is I break the year down into quarters. And I say this is quarter one, so January to March, quarter two, April to June, quarter three, quarter four. And I look at which goal is perhaps, which would fit into the different quarters. Some goals can wait. They're actually not that pressing for me to do right now. They're okay to start in September or even November, whereas in others would be very beneficial for me to start now. So then I slot them in the different quarters, and you'll see that your goals then roughly become a little bit less. You'll have maybe 4 or 5 goals per quarter, so they start to become a little bit palatable. Try when you do that to mix up some easy goals, like low-hanging fruit goals, with perhaps a little bit of a more challenging goal, so that it's not all that too boring, and that everything that's more difficult gets put into the later quarters. Because comes later in the year, we also start getting tired and we run out of steam and all of that. So put in a nice mix, and then keep that your focus, so that you know for quarter one, I'm going to work on only these 4 or 5 goals. That's it. And having peace of mind that the others that you've all put down there are scheduled for later in the year. Keeping it like this just helps you to know, these are my 5 goals. This is what I'm going to focus on. Then you go and write them down so that you can literally see them, either through an electronic reminder, a post-it, whatever, that you literally see them every week. Once a week, they need to pop up as a reminder to say, hey, Kerstin, how are you doing with this goal? How are you doing with reducing, for example, one of mine is, how are you doing with reducing your time spent on emails? My goal is to reduce my time spent on email by 25%. So how are you doing this week? How did it go? Did you do all right? Was it better or was it worse? If not, what happened? So it's really looking at it, because it prompts you to regularly look at it and go, okay, I'm going off track here a little bit. I need to go back on, and so on. And then it starts also questioning you when a goal that prompts you every week is not happening, to go back and say, why? Is this actually a goal? Is it a nice to have, or is it really something of value to me? So there might be goals as you go along that get tossed off the list, because you go, you know what, they're nice to have, but not really that important. And some of the goals are interrelated or interconnected. So it's in quarter one, but it also carries on in quarter 3 and 4. So they have this ebb and flow. So it's not that they're all single. So that's really a very practical way of how to set goals, to map them out in the year, to be very clear and hold yourself accountable through your own weekly check-ins. Of course, you can use a buddy, an actual person, where you decide once a week to say, for 15 minutes, let's just have a check-in. I'm going to share with you where I am with my goals. And likewise, they're going to share with your goals. So it's not a chit-chat discussion. It's not a big, long thing. It's literally a 15, 20 minutes where you said, I'm going to focus on this week on this goal. And the person checks in with you. If you need that, go for it. Some people like that. Others aren't motivated by that. Again, work with what works for you, but start setting goals by understanding why you really want them, and that you understand, is this a nice to have goal? Is it a goal that's going to change something for me deep down personally, professionally? So really understand the why of your goal and the benefits. And once you have that, you'll be able to really work with them. So setting goals does take reflection time, processing time, clarity, focus. But once you have all of that, it's like it's so clear in your head and you know where to go. So you don't have to worry about anything. And it really drives your energy and your focus for the year. And the best part is it helps you to say yes or no to certain things, because you know this is my focus for quarter one. And if something comes dangling your way, you can go, nope, it's not scheduled for quarter one, unless it's exceptionally lucrative. I mean, or you choose to bring it in, but it's actually something I can commit to in quarter two. So that's perhaps also very helpful. All right, nuts and bolts listeners, here we are at the end of today's talk. Time flies when you're having fun. I hope this practical activity helped you on how to set goals. If you would like to do it with me, to actually sit down and do this activity, I'm always available to do it. We can do it in person or digitally on over social online platforms. But yes, may this help you and have fun. So set your goals. We are on day 40. You've still got many days to go for the end of the year. No excuses. Have an amazing Friday. Look after yourself. Stay healthy, stay blessed, and take good care.